Good evening, and bloody welcome to Summer Night Murder Mystery Sinking Island, even though it's winter. We have reached the end of the game, so I think that this will actually be the last episode. But I still don't know who the murderer might be. But because it is the... Well, I think it probably will be the last episode. So let's read the text here. Jack Norm, using the photo of Walter Jones' face and Hubert Nolan's testimony, is persuaded that Jones' death was not accidental but very much criminal. Thanks to several traces and material elements left around the death of Walter Jones, he was able to determine those present on the Tortoise Belvedere on the evening of the crime: Baena, Lorenzo and Hubert Nolan. That night, Baena and Walter Jones fought, and Baena is in all likelihood responsible for Jones's fall onto the rocky beach. The scratches, the fingernail, and the tumultuous footprints around the Belvedere confirm to Norm this hypothesis. The arrival of the coroner's report turns everything upside down. Walter Jones was killed by a gunshot, thus Baena seems to be innocent. Nolan did not go to the Belvedere just to help his boss. He took advantage of the situation to steal the key to Walter Jones' safe, the key being kept on a chain around his neck. Norm found this key covered with Nolan's fingerprints in his suite's safe. Nolan used it to open Walter Jones' safe and to collect his testimonial arrangements. Sonia and Billy caught him in the act, and, as proven by the objects found in her bag, she took everything. The safe contained all of the things needed for the future marriage between Walter Jones and Baena. A marriage which, if it had taken place, would have disinherited all of Jones' grandchildren for Baena's profit. By comparing the compatible calibers with the bullet that killed Jones and discovering the powder traces which show the rifle's recent use, Norm was able to establish that the crime weapon was a Blazer carbine with telescope belonging to Walter Jones' very own collection. The shot was fired from the library window, as proven by the shards of wood found on the windowsill which came from the crime weapon. This coincides perfectly with the autopsy report, which establishes that the shot was fired from a great distance. The number of suspects who are sufficiently good at shooting to be able to shoot Jones is quite large. Norm has discovered that all of the grandchildren as well as Nolan had gone on safaris with the old Jones. In addition, Marco distinguished himself in the army and Lorenzo in biathlon races. Lorenzo and the tower's keycard management software allowed to discover the identity of the last people to enter the library: Hubert Nolan and a certain Simbi Laktar. Wow, that was quite a lengthy text. Yeah, but since this probably will be the last episode, I thought that it would be a good idea to read it one last time, but I'm not sure. There might be another episode, but this will probably be the last episode. So, speaking of the last episode, in the last episode before this episode, I was kinda lost in the end. So therefore I have looked through my walkthrough of the game. I haven't read the last page though, but I saw that the last page only contains about half of the page text on half of the page. So therefore I think that we are pretty close to the end. And I have missed some things that I have marked with a magic marker, just in order to find it more easily when I sit with the walkthrough here right in front of me, because I couldn't think of anything else to do, so I really had to use the walkthrough. And one of the first things that we need to do is to it should be, yeah, I think that's it. It should be an instrument here, not an instrument, a tool that we need. So let's see what happens when I click here.
I will certainly be able to use this for something.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So that was exactly what I was going to do according to the walkthrough. So now we got an Allen wrench. It's a wrench allowing to unscrew bolts. So let's get out of here and see if we are able to finish the game in this episode, or if we have to go through another episode. I think that I should take the elevator actually, because the elevator to the top floors are still working, so let's use the elevator to move a little faster. So the thing here is, I'm not sure if I have done this or not, but it says in the beginning of day 3, it says walk one screen to the right. Well, one thing is for sure, everybody's thrilled by the idea of escaping with a hot air balloon, and where were I when I were higher up, wasn't I? When Lorenzo told the group about the hot air balloon, we were located at floor 19 perhaps? Yeah, I think we were located here. So it says walk one screen to the right. Perhaps, yeah, I think this is the location that we were on then. It says go down the stairs, so let's do that. I'm not sure that I have done this or if I haven't done this, but just to be sure I have to check this out. It says go down the other stairs. I would guess these are the other stairs. Go to the left. This way then. Is it? No, I'm not sure. It says go to the left through the glass doors. It's probably here then. Try to call the elevator. So let's try and call the elevator then.
Strange, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, I am aware of that. Then it says take the piece of a ladder to Isabel Jones from beneath the plant. And I just now realize that there is something under this plant right here. I'm sure that you can spot it also, and of course it is right over there. So I have ran through this area so many times, but I have missed this thing right here. So let's pick it up. And if it weren't for the walkthrough, I would have missed it. Which of course I did. But I wouldn't have spotted it otherwise. So let's take a look on it. It's a document. It's a piece of a letter to Isabella Jones. And Isabella Jones, I think that she were Walter Jones' late wife. So it says here, part of a ripped letter. Terrible revelations are written on it, mostly regarding Edward Jones' death. What was written on the missing part? So let's take a look on it. Dear Isabella. Let's take a look on the date here first. I think it says Houston there. June 13th, 2002. Dear Isabella, I have a terrible confession to make to you. The airplane accident that cost the life of your husband, Edward Jones, on his wait, she couldn't have been Walter Jones' wife then. I was wrong about that. Okay, but she do had a kid with Walter Jones, and that kid is Marco. Yeah, which you probably are aware of if you have watched the previous episodes. Let's start from the beginning because I lost track of where I were. Dear Isabella, I have a terrible confession to make to you. The airplane accident that cost the life of your husband, Edward Jones, on his return from Canada was neither a suicide nor an accident. You know that Walter Jones accepted to absorb your husband's debts by obliging him to work for the Jones Company. He convinced Edward to investigate my affairs in Halifax. I know that would seem cowardly and unworthy of your trust. I am not sure what it says there. I think it's daring our meeting at his hotel. No, during our meeting at his hotel, I had to reveal to Edward the secret that you had confided in me in order to dissuade him from passing on the documents that he held against me. Bad luck was with me. The same evening he called me back to fill me in on the conversation that he had with his father, to ask him his side of the story. Regarding the safe accusation against him, Walter Jones denied the facts without convincing him. Edward was thrown into the pits of despair and rage. He called me back the following morning to heap season. I'm not sure what it says there. and accusations upon me. The file that he showed against me was stolen that night from his hotel room. I didn't know anything about it. I decided to go to his hotel in Halifax to speak to him about it. Edward had already left Halifax for Farmouth or something like that, where he waited for his private plane. In the Halifax hotel's hallway, I recognized one of Walter Jones' henchmen in the middle of a telephone conversation. He was explaining that your husband's airplane had been sabotaged and that the compromising file was now in secure hands at that moment. I think it says his fear as cowardliness, I did not react. No, it says for fear as cowardliness, I did not react. The following morning I heard on the radio that the jet carrying the billionaire Walter Jones' son to Boston crashed into the Gulf of Maine. I did nothing to help him, and now I will forever lose your confidence and friendship. And as you can see, there is a part of the letter that have been ripped off from the letter. And as you might recall, we do got a piece of, there it is, a piece of a letter. It says Nolan's ripped suicide letter. A letter written by Nolan which was found in the dead man's hand. This letter is very evasive and it seems to be missing a section. Where can the other section be found? And I think that we have found it. Just to go back, let's read this piece of the letter again. It is useless to search elsewhere for a guilty party. I am the murderer and the only one responsible for the crime. What I did today was to preserve my honor and my dignity. Hubert and Nolan. So this is in fact written by Hubert Nolan. However, this isn't a suicide note. This is a part from the letter that we just found. So he says that I am the murderer and the only one responsible for the crime. By that he means the airplane accident in which Eduardo Jones were killed. Well, it probably wasn't an accident. It was probably arranged by Walter Jones to take place. So let's go to the compare and compare the letter written by Nolan, which was found in the dead man's hand. This letter is very evasive and seems to be missing a section. Let's place that right there, and let's place the letter that we just found in the other slot there and compare the two.
Correct match.
Yeah, it was a match. So Yeah, that solved something. Okay, so let's continue. I will continue reading the walkthrough because I don't know how I should manage without the walkthrough on this last part of the game, since I were pretty much stuck. Okay, so I am reading the walkthrough right now, and I have done the things that are written in the walkthrough. Okay, so now we should head to the 17th floor. Yeah, let's do that. Let's follow the walkthrough. I am thinking about trying to use the tool that we found on the, yeah, why not, let's do that. Let's go to the door that is bolted shut. I think it's on floor 16 perhaps. Nah, I don't remember. Perhaps it's floor 15. No, it's not. So I think that we need to continue to descend the stairs.
Impossible to go lower. The stairs have collapsed.
Yeah, and we are unable to gain
Floor
access.
is still under construction. With Jones's death, I doubt these will be finished one day.
Yeah, so we are unable to gain access to floor 13. Let's try the Allen wrench just in case. Nah, it's not. Nothing is happening. He's just I don't know what he's doing. Let's head up the stairs and go out to the 14th floor. No, this is not right either. I think I checked floor 15, didn't I? So let's head up to floor 16. Yeah, here we go. Out of order, it says.
No point in insisting. This is bolted.
Yeah, and let's take a look on the tool we got. A wrench allowing to unscrew bolts. So let's try if we are able to gain access. No, we are not. I thought that we would be able to unscrew the bolts with this tool, but it doesn't work. So let's follow the walkthrough, and it says that we should go to the 17th floor, and that is the floor above us. I think it is the technical workshop. Yep. So yeah, let's run to the machine that we haven't been able to figure out to how we should open it yet, but now with our newfound tool we got a pretty good idea on how to get it open. So let's unscrew the bolts. and let's open the machine. So it is a document shredder. It is it's a glove there. Let's take a look on the shredded paper here.
And here is what is blocking the shredder.
What is it? I don't see what it is, but yeah, I remember I read this walkthrough yesterday, so I remember now. Let's take some prints of it,
Someone took this card.
and let's take a photo of the print.
Are the fingerprints I found on Simbi Lektar's cards his?
So there is a fingerprint there. Okay, let's go down one screen and look on this, or take this glove.
These gloves correspond with the sales receipt I found in the trash can of Christina and Marco.
Okay, so with this newfound evidence, my guess is that Marco is the killer. Because of what Walter Jones did to her, to his mom and to the man that he thought was his father. So I think that Marco have a motive to kill Walter Jones. I don't think there is anything else in here. We have already looked on that card there. So let's go into the clues database and take a look on our newfound clues. Here we have a picture of prints on Lektar's keycard. Yeah, it looks like that. And here we have pieces of stained Gomes gloves, pieces of size 9 beige leather gloves found in the broken garbage disposal. They are stained with an orange and sticky material, and it is probably flax oil that have stained the gloves. Let's take a look on the gloves. Gomes gloves color 3 size 9, and here we can see the stains. So let's go to the compare and compare. Let's start with the glove here and compare it with something, with this piece of paper with flax oil on it.
Correct match.
Yeah, it was a match. So now let's take the fingerprints on ex-employee Simbi Lektar's key card. Are they the owners? Well, let's find out about that. That is Martin's fingerprints. That is Baina's fingerprints. Hubert Nolan's fingerprints. Let's compare it with Marco's fingerprints, since I suspect Marco to be the killer.
Correct match.
Yep.
Marco
It
must
is
have
a
stolen
match.
this card from Lorenzo.
So I think it is pretty safe to say that Marco is the one who killed Walter Jones, because Marco have a motive. He got the skill, he were in the military, He have touched the key card, and the receipt to the gloves were found in his and Christina's suite. So I think that it is a pretty strong strong line of evidence that points toward Marco Jones as the killer. But of course I might be wrong about this, but I think that Marco is the one who killed Walter Jones, and also Hubert de Noland. So that is what I think. That is my theory right now. Let's see if we are able to solve any puzzle pieces. So let's activate was Hubert de Nolan's death really a suicide, and see if we are able to solve that piece of the puzzle. I think that we should be able to solve this piece of the puzzle now. I should switch that with this document right here. I think that we do have the right picture and the right print. Now though, we need a declaration. Yeah, I'm gonna cheat a little here and go with the walkthrough. Yeah. Well, okay then, I am reading the document, I mean the walkthrough. So in order to solve this piece of the puzzle, we need to click on Lorenzo Battaglieri's declarations, and Lorenzo claims that Noland is not the suicidal type. I think that is the right declaration. So let's see if we have the correct pieces of evidence.
Is the death of Hubert de Noland a real suicide? The death of Hubert de Noland is a murder masquerading as a suicide.
The death of Hubert de Noland is a murder masquerading as a suicide.
Well, Jack, you have a second murder on your hands. You haven't done yet with this nest of vipers. The two crimes are connected, that's for sure. But don't forget, our priority is to arrest the billionaire's murderer.
Yeah, it is what we expected it to be, really. It was a murder, it wasn't a suicide. Yeah, so let's continue with our walkthrough. I actually think that I will have to make yet another episode after this episode, because I look at the time now, and this episode is going to be pretty long, and I don't think that I have done all the things that I need to yet able to solve the game or the murder. Well, perhaps I do, because I see that the next page after this page that is in front of me are in fact the last page of the walkthrough. But I just noticed that it got more text on that page than what I originally thought. I thought it was only half of the page with text, but it seems to be the whole page that got text on it. But I want to read it, so let's see if we are able to find a solution to the last piece of the puzzle. Okay, so I think that we might have to go and talk to Marco after these things that we have found now, because if I take a look on, no, that's not it. If I take a look on the, on this piece of the puzzle here, what is Simbi Laktar still doing on the island? And let's go to the clues database. Here we see this piece of the puzzle, and the progress bar isn't filled all the way, so we are missing one important clue in order to solve this piece of the puzzle, and that might very well be a declaration. What is Simbi Laktar still doing on the island? Picture of Laktar's keycard with Marco's prints. I think that we should place that right there. So let's go and talk to Marco.
Strange. It's not working anymore.
Yeah, not surprisingly, because the tower is about to collapse. Let's run to, I think that Marco is this way. Yeah, there he is. So let's talk to him about the things that we recently found.
I'm hoping to ask you some questions.
Yeah, now we can ask him about all the stuff that we found. Let's start with a letter from Nolan to Isabella Jones divided into two pieces.
The murderer would have had us all believing in Nolan's suicide if he'd not overlooked this fragment of the letter which changes everything.
I have the impression that you are losing the thread of your investigation, Inspector. I want you to find my grandfather's murderer. This document is a new confession from Nolan about his financial swindling to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. And it is also the proof that my grandfather was the person behind Edward Jones' murder.
Yeah. He seems pretty upset, which is understandable, of course, but I do believe that Marco is the murderer. Yeah, I think so. All pieces of evidence that we have found points towards him as the murderer. So let's talk to him about pieces of Gaum's gloves stained with flax oil.
Do you know to whom these gloves might belong?
I don't know, Inspector. Really, I can't help you.
That was a lie, because the receipt to the gloves were found in his suite. Or perhaps they belong to Christina. Let's talk to him about the same subject.
The murderer used these gloves. The flax oil from the stock of the rifle used for the murder stained the gloves. Surprising, no?
Good Lord, Inspector, you're full of it. You're digressing totally. Find a way instead for us to get out of this hellish island. You're making us lose precious time.
The way that Marco acts right now is very suspicious. So that makes me even more sure about that Marco is the one who shot Walter Jones as well as Hubert and Nolan. Or perhaps he works as a team with someone else. That is also a possibility that there are more than one murderer. Let's talk to him about the last subject here, which is picture of Lactar's keycard with Marco's prints, and see what he have to say about this thing.
Do you have any idea of what I found on Simbi Lactar's keycard, Mr. Jones?
No, I don't know. But get to the point, Inspector.
Your fingerprints.
Oh, yes? It's certainly the result of a blunder by Lorenzo. He gave me this card by mistake. He took it back from me and finally gave me the right card, but that's all there is to it.
Yeah, why not? I will dig into this.
Yeah, well, that might be true actually, but I'm not sure. All the evidence points towards Marco as the killer, but on the other hand, maybe it is just too easy. I thought that he was going to talk in his phone, but he is probably just trying to reach the rescue service. I still think that Marco is the murderer, but perhaps it is just too perfect for him to be the murderer. And in murder cases like these, the murderer is pretty much always the one person that you least expected. And right now Marco is the person that I expect the most to be the murderer. So perhaps he isn't the one who killed Walter Jones. But let's take a look on our newfound... I really thought that the progress bar would have filled up, but it haven't. Marco says that Lorenzo must have made him touch the key card without him noticing. Okay. I'm reading the walkthrough again because I don't know what else to do. Well, let's do like this. Let's go and talk to everyone again about this newfound evidence, because perhaps they got something to say about this. So let's take a look on where everybody's at. Billy's in the heliport lounges. Martin is still in Lorenzo's studio. Sonia is in the heliport lounges. Coolio, Christina, and Clara is also in the heliport lounges. Lorenzo is in his studio. Then we got Baina, which is also in the heliport lounges. So let's talk to everybody, just because we can, and I think that we will be able to solve this piece of the puzzle when we have talked to all the suspects again. Let's talk to Billy and Clara. I'm gonna find out what her name is now. That is Sonia, that's her name, and Clara is, yeah. I don't know why I am having such trouble with telling them apart. But at least, yeah, let's talk to Sonia and Billy. Let's interrupt him.
Inspector. I love crime thrillers, you know?
So let's talk to him about all the newfound evidence that we recently got here.
The murderer would have had us all believing in Nolan's suicide if he'd not overlooked this fragment of the letter which changes everything.
Okay, it's a long drawn-out affair. My grandfather's crap goes beyond the height of this hellish tower. So from now on, nothing can surprise any of us anymore, Inspector.
Is that so?
Do you know to whom these gloves might belong?
No. I don't know whom they belong to.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that Billy is the murderer. Let's talk to Sonia.
I'm hoping to ask you some questions. The murderer would have had us all believing in Nolan's suicide if he'd not overlooked this fragment of the letter which changes everything.
Without a doubt. I don't know anything. It's your investigation, Inspector Norm. I admit that I'm surprised that Nolan had been so close to Mom. After all, he may not have been as rotten as he seemed.
Do you know to whom these gloves might belong?
No, I haven't the foggiest idea, Mr. Norm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that Sonia is the murderer either. I believe that Coolio and his daughter Baina is this way, so let's talk to them as well. Let's start with Baina. Yeah, that is right. We found a marriage certificate in the chapel. So let's talk to her about that.
I want justice to be rendered to you, Baina. These were the last wishes of Walter Jones.
She were pretty expressionless there. Let's talk to Coolio about, I would guess,
I would like to ask you two or three
it's the
questions.
same subject. Yeah, it is.
I want to render justice to your daughter Baina by carrying out Walter Jones's last wishes.
You are a good man, and my door will always be open to you. That is, if we get out of here alive, Jack Norm.
What door? He's pretty much homeless because his little hut on the beach is underwater now, so I don't think that he have the door anymore, but I guess it's more of an expression than an actual door. Okay, so let's talk to the remaining suspects. Yeah, by the way, I don't think that Coolio or Baina is the killers either. But you never know. Let's run this way and see if we can find anyone else to talk to. Here we have Clara, I think.
Well, Inspector.
Well, well, well. Let's talk to her about the pieces of Gaum's gloves stained with flax oil.
Do you know to whom these gloves might belong?
No. No idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that she isn't the killer either. Okay, so... Is there anyone else to talk to here? Yeah, of course, Christina. Let's talk to her about the
All right,
gloves.
I am all yours,
Because
Jack.
I think that we will be able to talk to her about that, yeah. And we are able to talk to her about the ladder from Nolan to Isabella Jones divided into two pieces as well. So let's do just that.
The murderer would have had us all believing in Nolan's suicide if he'd not overlooked this fragment of the letter which changes everything.
Let's see, Jack. What more are you looking for? This letter says that Nolan was a thief and that Mr. Jones was a murderer. Ah, well, so justice is done. That's all.
Okay, so she sees that as justice, and well, in a way, I guess you can call it that. But it is pretty suspicious that she would say such a thing. Let's ask her about the pieces of Gomes' gloves stained with flax oil.
Do you know to whom these gloves might belong?
Oh, but of course, Jack. These are gloves that I bought in Moscow. A gift for Marco. What brought them to such a sorry state?
I have my idea about this, but I won't say anything for now. I thank you for this information, Christina.
Yeah, I thank her as well, because that means that Marco were lying about not knowing whom the gloves belonged to. So I think that we have found our last piece of evidence. We have not. I really thought that we should be able to solve this piece of the puzzle now, but no, we are still unable to do that. Let's take a look on the progression. We are still that last puzzle piece are still unknown to us. So the only puzzle piece that we can solve is this one right here. I will have to consult my walkthrough again. Yeah, of course. I have to talk to Lorenzo as well. So let's head up to his studio and talk to Lorenzo and Martin as well. And after that we should be able to let's take the elevator. We should be able to solve this piece of the puzzle. And we are getting near the end, but I might make another episode. I haven't decided yet. Let's talk to Martin and Lorenzo first and see what happens. So let's talk to Martin.
I need you to enlighten me on a point.
Let's talk to him about letter from Nolan to Isabella Jones divided into two pieces.
The murderer would have had us all believing in Nolan's suicide if he'd not overlooked this fragment of the letter which changes everything.
All these revelations are making me nauseous, Inspector. It's really revolting. I only have one desire, to get out of this nightmare and to leave this cursed island forever.
I understand.
Yeah, well, Martin is probably pretty scared because the tower is about to collapse, but he were being pretty unpleasant, mad. I'm not sure what the word is that I'm looking for. Unwelcoming. Well, he were pretty. I can't find the word now, but aggressive. Perhaps he were being pretty aggressive towards Jack Norm. I don't think that he got any motive to kill Walter Jones, though. Not motive enough, at least. Yeah, I don't know. Let's talk to Lorenzo.
Excuse me, just one question. It won't be too long.
And let's talk to him about Marco says that Lorenzo must have made him touch the key card without him noticing.
Lorenzo, did you give this card to Marco Jones by mistake before taking it back from him to give him his own card?
I wouldn't swear by it, obviously. But I don't remember anything of this at all, Inspector. I can only tell you that it's been a few days since I was able to find it. I thought I'd mislaid it.
I'll come back to see you.
Okay, so I hope that we are able to solve this piece of the puzzle now. Yeah, we are. Let's use this declaration right here. Lorenzo believes that he misplaced the key card. Yeah, let's try to solve the piece of the puzzle with or the puzzle piece, maybe I should say, with the clues that I have placed in the available slots, to see if they are correct. Yeah, they are.
What was Simbi Laktar doing on the island? Marco used Simbi Laktar's card on the evening of the murder.
I know that Marco Jones used the card of Simbi Laktar the evening of the murder.
Okay, Jack, but you can stop looking for your Simbi Laktar in the woodwork. I've got some news on him. He was hired by the airport maintenance service in Sally 10 days ago. So he's got nothing to do with the murder of the billionaire. Check the tracks of Marco Jones and keep me posted. In fact, Jack, be tactful with Marco Jones. He's an influential man. And this is no time to commit a blunder.
I have to find the criminal quickly.
Yeah.
And I have to find the proof to arrest him.
Okay then, so yeah, I have to have more proof, I guess, in order to arrest Marco Jones as the murderer of Walter Jones and Hubert Noland. So I do have some things left to do, it seems. I won't check the walkthrough anymore, not unless it is absolutely necessary to do so. But yeah, we are near the end, but I will still end this episode and make another final episode, because I want to know who you think the murderer is. If you think that it is Marco, or if you think that it is someone completely different. And it would be really interesting to hear about your theories. So if you think that Marco Jones is the murderer, which I think he is the murderer, because all the evidence points towards him. So yeah, but still, if you think that Marco is the murderer, feel free to write a comment why you think that he committed murder, or if you think that another one of the suspects are the murderer, then feel free to write what it is that makes you think that that particular person is the murderer. So yeah, it would be really interesting to read about your theories. But anyway, I'm gonna end this episode here before I digress anymore. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.